Stephen Walsh is the founder and CEO of Keeper Solutions, a company specializing in designing and developing SaaS products for VC-backed FinTech firms in the US and Europe. Also, he is a limited partner at FinTech Ventures, based in Atlanta, Georgia, where he plays a key role in identifying FinTech startups for seed-stage funding. Stephen is passionate about designing and building world-class SaaS FinTech products and puts all his extensive knowledge to work while on this mission.
Hello, FinTech builders and leaders. Today, we continue our new series of podcasts, and it is the God, Greed, and the FinTech, the show for the strong-minded entrepreneurs in FinTech who are not afraid to transform financial industry, who are not afraid to take the risk, to get the rewards, and build the brighter financial future. And I'm Vasyl from INSART, your number one FinTech engineering partner. And ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming our new guest, Stephen Walsh, founder and CEO of Keeper Solutions. And Keeper Solutions help FinTech startups and scale-ups throughout their journey from MVP to unicorn status and beyond to design and develop their software. So Stephen, thank you for joining us today.
Vasyl, it's an absolute pleasure. Thanks for having me here.
So just to set this perspective, Stephen, can you tell us in more details, what is your business and why did you decide to start it?
Sure. Well, look, my business, Keeper Solutions, I founded it in 2012. And our mission is really to help founders in startups and scale-ups to design, develop, and AI optimize the best FinTech products in the world. And that's what we do. That's what we know. And that's what we love. We see our mission is to be a platform for our clients' success. And we're doing that pretty well. My own background was in core banking systems with MISIS, and I've worked in that industry through my life. Also had I got an insight into global service delivery when I was working for Ross Perot in Perot Systems, and I think it was 2011 that I decided, look, it's time to go out on my own, and I wanted to create an enterprise that would be able to really enable fintechs to get the engineering and design capability that they need in order to to fulfill their dreams and to build and deploy those products that correspond to their vision. So that's what we're all about, and yeah.
So I'm in touch with many entrepreneurs who actually also build the professional services companies, and there is always a question. So, what business is better, like the professional services business, or maybe building your own FinTech product?
Yeah.
What's your perspective on that?
Well, I think it comes down to maybe your skills, your capabilities, your appetite for risk, and your outlook on life. I mean, certainly the great thing about building a service business is that you can leverage your network straight away. You can get into business and you can start invoicing your clients from month one. Whereas, if you're in a product business, you gotta get your vision, you got to get your team, you've got to get your investment, probably your MVP, and you got to take some risk and try and get it out there in the market at the right time in the right place. And that's it's so look, it's a different equation. I think the startup entrepreneurs that are going for the VC backed, I think they've got a higher appetite for risk probably than some of us guys in the services industry. But we recognize that, and I think part of our mission as well is to help them to reduce to reduce the risk around, design, development, and deployment of their products. So yeah, look, I mean, they're two different beasts, and I have to say I've worn both hats myself, Vasyl. I've my main venture is Keeper Solutions, and I've been working on that since 2011, 2012. But one of the things that you probably know yourself in a service business is that you inevitably have some bench, some unallocated resources, and so I started noticing that a few years ago when we were a smaller company, and started trying to do some interesting projects with the bench, but. I think like now Keeper is around 100 people in total, and that's probably around 85% is engineers or developers, designers. So we found that we've got a little bit more capacity to do things apart from, say, billable assignments for clients. So actually we went and got a support from the Croatian government and the EU R&D funds, and since the start of 2023, we've actually been building a product called the Keeper Platform, internally, and we're just in the process of getting that ready for spinning it out as an MVP. Well, no, we're looking to go live as an MVP, and then we plan later next year to spin it out into a separate entity. So look, I'm in the services, but I think I'm getting into the product game a little bit as well. So yeah.
So it's a very typical question from the clients when you start building some product internally. So it can be a competition to your current clients, and lots of clients, they may be a little bit afraid using the external vendors like us in terms of intellectual property. So how would you handle this? How would you handle their objection that you would, at some point of time, you would use all the experience gained from working with them to build your own intellectual property and leverage on that?
Yeah, well, look, I mean, that's a great question, and it's a very, it's a very core kind of issue to our industry, and we realize as a services company that we give up any rights to the intellectual property of the products that we help our clients to create. So that's a very clear, that's core part of our business model, and then of course the contracts reflect that. So all the IP rights are assigned to the clients, and our clients, they're mostly VC-backed companies, so they have to be sure if they're partnering with us that their IP will not be infringed. So we make sure not to step on the toes of our clients. We love our clients, and we just want them to succeed. So I think the key, if you're a services company and you're thinking of getting into product, the key is, look, don't go and try to copy something that you've learned from your clients, but maybe do something that you do know about, but which is in a separate niche. And so that's kind of the approach that we've taken, Vasyl. We're actually staying away with our product from what any of our clients are doing, so we're comfortable with that, and they're happy with it too. In fact,
another scenario that clients are really afraid of is, on one hand, when you build your professional services company, okay, so you need to gain some expertise, you need to build some core competencies and serve some specific clients, but it appears that your clients are also competitors to each other. And sometimes it's a very hard and tough conversation with the client whether you would start working with their competitor or not. So how would you overcome this objection? Like, hey, I don't want you to work with this particular client.
Yeah. Well, again, this is definitely a sensitivity that's there, and it's kind of like companies like us. we thrive by specializing and focusing. So, like for example, Keeper Solutions, I think your company as well, INSART, is just working in the fintech sector. Now, luckily, it's a global business,
Yeah, it's huge,
and
huge.
it's huge. It's a big industry, so there's a lot of niches in it, and like we do focus in a few niches like embedded finance, lending, payments integrations, and actually accounting and finance. So most of it is B2B. Um, we're sensitive to that, and in fact, one of our most successful clients, a company called Moment, which is making great success in embedded finance in the US. Um, they speak very highly of us, and they give us a lot of accolades. But like we are talking to some other companies that are involved in embedded finance, but we just check with our existing clients saying, look, we're having discussions with this company. They're in the general niche. Are you comfortable with that? And like normally we just wouldn't go for two companies that are competing head to head, because I think there's a conflict of interest, and I don't like building Chinese walls in the organization. So I'd rather just
All right.
not have two clients doing exactly the same thing or are competing with each other, and just trying to be transparent. And if it doesn't feel right, don't do it, because your reputation is everything in this industry, in every industry, I suppose.
Yeah, I like it. I like it regarding not building the Chinese walls internally. So it can be real disaster. So we tried once. We don't want to do this
Really, yeah,
anytime soon. But also, there is always a question. So why actually the fintech startup and fintech and maybe even more established fintechs, they should use the vendors like us? And in what circumstances they shouldn't actually use the vendors
yeah,
like us? So what's your
yeah,
what's your experience here?
yeah, sure. Well, my
Have
view
you
is
ever recommended
biased.
your clients not to use your services?
Well, we've told some companies that we're not working with them. I don't know if that's the same thing, but um, yeah. Look, I mean, there's like we kind of specialize on working with certain types of companies at certain stages, and it tends to be companies that are backed by venture capital. They're either just pre-seed, there's seed or post-seed companies, or they're scale-ups. So although all of our clients are on a journey, um, with their investors and with their product, with their customers, and all of them are, they're looking to get product market fit, and they're looking to deploy that product to the market in as short a time as possible. So you know, so for those sort of companies, for those reasons, I think as long as they have their CEO, their CTO, and their product management function in house, that way they can look after the core things, even including the architecture, I would say, as well as the product management. Then, like, I think that you know I think 25-75. That's 25 in-house, 75 externally. That's the mix that our most successful client has done, and they've gone from zero to halfway to a unicorn in 4 years, and that served them well. But that's a very positive dynamic that we try to help replicate with other clients, and yeah, so I think mostly I would say, and I suppose that's predictable, you know keep some functions in house and then outsource, because you really don't want to be getting caught up with your CTO, dealing with HR issues rather than really important strategic product kind of focus. And that's the way we try to operate. We let our clients focus on what they really need to do, and we provide a platform for their success. And that's design sprints. We love design sprints. They're fast, and it's a great place to do discovery, to do design, to do user testing. And then we have this thing called a software development as a service, which is just a kind of a managed service around software development, so that we can provide sort of a managed capacity to our clients of engineering capability. And they love that because they just ingest that into their sprints, and they can really focus on the product, the market, the user journey, and they can be confident that they can rely on their partnership to get that engineering capability. And there's a big war all over the world for the best engineering capability you need to make those great products. So look, I mean, that's telling you all the cases when they should. I suppose, look, if you don't, if you've got, I don't know, if you're not planning on scaling fast, if you need all single kind of culture and location, then maybe keep it in house. And look, some companies I talk to, they're more comfortable with that. But I guess I've been at the coal edge of seeing how it's been a successful strategy. So I'm more an advocate of do outsource than don't outsource. That's my view on life.
Yeah, so another situation, and we always advise our startup founders to get the CTO, the technology advisor or CTO,
Absolutely.
as soon as possible on board. So before doing this, I believe they must not go to external vendor, because somebody must be accountable in the fintech startup for the technology and also for the product. So the best scenario, they got the CTO, the chief product officer, maybe part-time, maybe as a shareholder, and only then start looking for the external vendor who can actually help them to build the MVP and then help to accelerate the product roadmap. Before that, don't go to the external vendor. So this is maybe the best advice that we can give to the founders with whom we work. But another question here is also, when you have a chief technology officer who is typically your buying persona, they could be afraid of losing control if they go to the external vendor. So that's why they build everything in house. They don't outsource. They don't use the external vendors. So how would you overcome these objections? Like, I don't want to lose control of what we're doing and what we're delivering.
Yeah. Well, I think I just go through with them some of the things I spoke to you about earlier on, sensitivities around IP. I think the question of focus, which I spoke as well, that you want your people to be focused on high value strategic matters, and then the methodologies that we've adopted, and I'm sure you probably have processes that are in place there, which are really designed to enable and to empower the founders rather than to take that kind of power away from them. So I think, like, one of the things, Vasyl, that I think that founders do fret about is that, say, oh, look, I'm spending 60% of my my burn rate on this external provider, and I'm getting a big dependency on that company. I'd be better to invest that in people that are part of this company. So that's something that we've actually seen, and
it's like vendor lock situation.
It's exactly, and like one of the I think things that shows up over time is that the in-house developers have got stock options, but the outsourced developers don't, and that's a kind of natural starting point. But if like we've been on journeys with clients over multiple years, and we've had people architects, developers, tech leads who've been involved from even pre-MVP and who are very critical to the success of the startup or the scale-up. And then we've seen, companies going from zero and exiting for hundreds of millions. And then the outsourced developers are kind of left maybe hoping for the goodwill or charity, but not having any kind of contracts to so that they can share in the exit. So that actually happened to us with our developers a few times, and we thought,
So
hey,
do you have this experience when your engineers will get the stock options? Is it sustainable model? What do you think?
Well, like in the past, we had a case where one of our clients did an exit for about, I think they exited for about $200 million. They were bought out on a trade sale. And there were some of our developers who had been, they'd been assigned to that client for some years. So actually in the end, the CFO of the client said, look, I've got $100,000. I want to give it to your people. Are you okay to pass that on? And we said, yeah, that's fine. Look, we'll do that. And look, everybody was happy in the end of it. But that was just goodwill, good luck. So we actually.
Sorry for interrupting, but
No, go ahead.
do you specifically think that it can be a game changer for the professional services companies when the clients when we will be able to negotiate to start allocating stock options to the team members, and maybe for the everybody or other stakeholders who participate in the success of the client growth? So do you think it could be a sustainable game changing model for the professional services industry or not?
Oh, I do, Vasyl. Absolutely. It's we've actually engaged in that now ourselves. So we've gone to a few of our most successful clients when they're going for new rounds of investment, and we said, hey, we'd love if you'd grant stock options to our team members, and we'd be happy to allow you to do that. So yeah, we've started doing that, and like what I would say though is it's not without its difficulties. It's complex, it's sensitive. There's say if it's a US company, you've got to comply with the SEC Rule 701, for granting stock options to employees or contractors. So for non-employees, non-contractors, a little bit more kind of compliance. There's regulations, and then there's withholding taxes for liquidity events, and then there's kind of the commercial sensitivities between the two companies. So it's not that easy to do, but we think it's a great thing to do, because if you can imagine, say, like in the case of Keeper Solutions now, we actually do a profit share. We share 10% of our EBITDA with our entire team every year. So then if you can imagine some of our developers working for some of our clients that have granted stock options, you see on the first hand, our team, they've got a stake in the profits that our company makes, but in addition to that, they've got stock options, and they're getting paid, and hopefully they're enjoying themselves in a good work environment. So actually, the more we thought about it, we thought, hey, look, there's actually a kind of misalignment in this global industry, because there's the startup industry is huge, or the scale-up industry, the fintech industry is huge, and it relies so heavily on companies such as yours and mine, and companies in the States, in Latin America, in Asia, in Eastern Europe, to design and build their products. But it isn't generally the practice to grant stock options to people who've proved themselves, because they're outsourced. So we've actually gone and built a product called the Keeper Platform, and it does two things. One, it enables founders to grant stock options to the entire team, even to outsourced developers, and then also it allows founders, people like you and me, to grant profit shares to our teams. So we're kind of trying to help the misalignment through kind of productizing that process, stock options, profit shares, and even outside the corporate boundaries.
Yeah, so profit sharing, I think it's another one good idea, and we also started to do this recently because
Right.
this actually incentivized the team members
Yep.
to look into the profits of the company, okay, but not only into the income, the specific income they will receive, but the company will receive, and
Yeah.
yeah, and also you touched something. So I had some conversation with a very
Hmm.
experienced technology founder,
Yep.
CTO founder, with several successful exits, and the
Hmm.
conversation was about the building the actually the engineering culture in the company. And he said,
Right.
I'm building the very unique engineering culture. And one of the parts is actually what we have just touched with you, like
Hmm.
providing the stock options plans. Okay, not only but the stock options plans was the part of the conversation.
Yep.
And from the other hand, as soon as we work with many different fintech companies, we see so many situations,
Hmm.
and I think that we also gain the lots of knowledge and experience how to build a really great engineering culture, what to do,
Yes.
what not to do, what are the lessons learned. So
Yep.
what would be your major lessons learned that you
Hmm.
actually provide that you can teach your clients about
Yeah.
building the
Yep.
great engineering culture?
Yeah, sure. Well, yeah, such an important topic, and we take it very seriously here. And like what we've done in Keeper is we have a set of values and principles that are based around respect, around being able to make honest mistakes and learn from them, about encouraging innovation. And also contributing to to your community and to the environment. So we've kind of embedded them in our company, and we articulate them to everybody. We try to live by them, and we think that's great because it's a good foundation for creating a great environment that people are comfortable working in. So that's the starting point, and then we try to identify clients that are doing things that are interesting from a business, fintech, and technology perspective, so that then you've got your good culture in your company, you've got interesting projects, and then you can go and you can attract and retain really really quality people who also kind of they're drawn to that type of culture and that kind of environment. And so you get people that can kind of it all resonates. It starts humming, and it ends up that that you've got a happy team that are of really kind of talented people, that they know how the culture is, and that ends up that they can do great things in engineering teams with the clients. And also the alignment, that cultural alignment between the client companies and the outsourcing companies, so important. With the agile development methodology, the whole thing of let's throw it over the wall with the requirements and see what comes back. That's gone. It's daily stand-ups, and it's a lot of interaction between the developers, regardless if they're in-house or out-house. So culture, again, it's so important there. So yeah, I mean that's it. And then I think like things like profit shares, stock options, I think they're kind of financial components that kind of sit very well within that wider context. And if you're able to bring all those things together, then that's I think you've got a good operation, and it's going to be able to work well, I think.
So, Steven, to wrap up our conversation, so what do
Yeah.
you think is the biggest innovation and opportunity going on in the fintech next? What will be the next big thing we should think about?
Yeah, yeah. Well, look, everybody's looking at AI and Gen AI in particular. So I think
So what are
that's
the specifics for FinTech here?
yeah, yeah.
The
Well,
application for
yeah.
FinTech?
Well, look, I think AI. It's like electricity, or it's like the internet. It's just pervading everything. So it's changing everything. So like what we've kind of what we've see as the opportunity, I think, in Keeper Solutions, and we've set up an AI lab earlier on this year, is those those the Gen AI bot, which which can understand, you can kind of have a sort of a human level conversation with. It can understand context, and I think training up or modifying LLMs for particular products or for particular user journeys in fintech, for onboarding clients. Obviously, look, machine learning is being used a lot in credit decisioning. That's kind of more of the old school, but I think that customer experience, I think accelerating clients through user journeys with the help of kind of smart bots is good. I think as well, trying to embed those kind of cultures that we spoke about, the values and principles, into bots, so that the way that they operate kind of represents the way your product or your culture is in your organization. And then I think being able to define particular personas, an onboarding bot, a compliance bot. We think the opportunities for compliance, even in like the Keeper platform, getting compliance against SEC rules, for example, there's great opportunities there. So yeah, I mean, we're acquiring some chips, some NVIDIA chips, to help give us some firepower to kind of train up those kind of customized LLMs in the fintech
That's
area.
interesting.
Yeah,
So,
it's
okay.
fascinating.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you. So, the machine learning, now the machine learning capabilities, they are enormous. And we need to be very careful with the applications here. So there are lots of options. There are lots of innovations. Still, we need to find the real use cases that are, with the predictable return
Yeah,
on investments, because everybody are talking about generative AI, but what is the return on investment,
yeah, yeah.
having specific use cases?
That's it. And
Okay.
like I mean, they can be expensive things, so you need to know where your ROI is coming from for sure.
So there is no silver bullet whether to use external vendors or not, as we discussed. That there should be some strategy in place for any fintech startup and fintech company. And my perspective is that fintech company, fintech founders, they can gain lots of experience working with the vendor like us. They can gain also cost efficiency, specific
Yep.
expertise, even the lessons learned how to build the great engineering culture. From the other hand, you need to make sure that you're ready to use the external vendors, and there are lots of situations when you are not ready or you shouldn't do this. But there always should be a strategy in place. So, Stephen, thank you very much for this open-minded discussion today. I really loved your point about the stock options. I think this is
Yep.
something we should start talking with our clients more and more. So thank you
Yeah,
for being with
absolutely.
us today.
It's absolute pleasure, Vasyl. Thanks for having me on. Nice to talk with you.
Yeah, and to all the fintech leaders and builders who are watching us today, big thank you for joining us today, and for our next episode of God's Grit and the FinTech podcast. And also, I encourage you to share your experience, good and bad experience of working with the external vendors, software engineering vendors, and so in the comments down below this video, please share your experiences. And don't forget to like this video, to subscribe to our channel. It will really help us to spread the word. And you know with whom you must share this video. And let's keep building FinTech together and the brighter financial future. Bye-bye.
Still watching us and have not subscribed yet? Let's fix this. Also, don't forget to like this video and take a look at the other episodes we have. See ya!